Miller's Owl House on a fabulous Wednesday afternoon. It was chilly this morning, but it's very nice today. And it is time for Three Guys Who Love Sports right here at Miller's Owl House on a wonderful Wednesday. My name's Chuck Burge. This show is all about helping support guys that are going through physical and mental issues. And if we can help them get through their day an hour at a time, and you help them an hour at a time, and we all do a little. Nobody has to do a lot. So happy to be here on Three Guys Who Love Sports, as always, with my co-host, Mr. Robert Kenny. Robert, how are you, buddy?
Good, sir. And yourself?
I am just living the dream.
That's all you can do?
That's all you can do, whether it's a nightmare or a good dream.
They're all dreams. Some of them are better than others. They're usually not the ones you signed up for, but they're all yours.
Yeah.
It's one of the only things that is all yours.
And I'll keep them. So we're here at Miller's, as we talked about it. We're here every Wednesday. And as usual, it's become my pattern. I am getting the Mimi's Fiesta Bowl minus the shrimp. So good stuff. It's become my favorite meal in the world.
I went different today. I got the little steak and some fried shrimp. So I should get my numbers before I eat, and then get my numbers done right after I eat, and see how those fried shrimp treat me. Yeah,
should be good. Larry, what did you get today?
I got the Cajun pasta.
Larry,
blackened Cajun, chicken and Cajun sauce.
All right. So we're going to get into our first commercial before we get into our discussions. Robert, tell us about what's happening at Kennesaw Express Lube.
There are a lot of places to get your oil changed in Kennesaw area, but if you're looking for a personal experience, then stop in at Castrol Kennesaw Express Lube or Lost Mountain Express Lube. We'll always do our best to get you in and out quickly, safely, and without a whole lot of fuss. We're a true owner-operated business where you'll find Brian under a car or a hood at one of the shops. We offer experienced, knowledgeable technicians and the latest computer software to help you maintain your new car warranty and keep your pride and joy running for the next 100,000 miles. We proudly offer
Castrol products. All right. Thank you, Brian Bristow, for being a sponsor of the Owls. We want to welcome back one of our favorite guests, and you can tell who he's for in the tournament coming up based on his shirt he has on. Mr. Rick Lippert. Everybody say hey to Rick.
Hi, Rick.
Look at that delayed applause. That's awesome. Hey, Matt Skirman in the crowd tonight, so good to see Matt. Rick, welcome, buddy.
Thanks for having me back. And I guess it took the March Madness to have me back. So I see how you guys are.
It's either March Madness or Groundhog Day or Arbor Day or one of those days if we've got Rick around.
George Washington's birthday.
I think Rick is probably, it's a very coveted list of people who sit in that third chair, and I think you're probably near the top, if not
he's way up there.
Because there's a few people in the very beginning who did a lot of them, but since we've been here, I don't think anybody's been.
Has there anybody in this chair that has been banned and is not allowed back? That you can say
not that's not to your left.
Okay.
No. Yeah.
There's nobody to his left.
You're to his left, Brain.
No, I'm not.
Which side are you to?
His
Are you
left.
to his right?
There's
his
nobody
back.
to
That's
his
his
left.
back.
There is nobody to his left.
Back.
He's pointed this way.
There's nobody to his left.
You're losing
You're
this
a
argument
liar.
bad.
The panel goes this way.
No.
Oh,
The
yeah.
panel
that's
goes this way. There is nobody to his
right.
left.
Which way is he facing, Adam?
He's supposed to be facing this way.
No, he's not. Nobody's
Yes,
ever
he
faced
is.
that way on
Well,
this show.
then I'm the only
Larry,
person
could
that's
you
ever
cut off
faced
his
the
mic,
camera.
Then,
I always knew when I saw
What a
Adam.
loser.
I always knew when I saw Adam at the Kennesaw State
He has
basketball
no
games
power.
that the stats were going to be very accurate.
Yeah.
Left, right.
Yeah. All right. So we're going to talk a little NFL football first. I guess the biggest story of the week is that Justin Fields finally landed somewhere. Was that a surprise to you?
You know, what's so surprising is that I called for it for a year, saying that in Arthur Smith's archaic run-first offense, he makes a lot of good sense. And then all of a sudden, we shipped them both off. Everybody gets shipped to Pittsburgh. But isn't it weird? I got a friend who's a Bears fan, and so he's like, wait. Trubisky's there, but now Fields just got Trubisky'd, and now this person just it's kind of crazy how they are. I don't know. But they are a winning organization. They only paid $1.5 million for Russell Wilson.
They got a bargain deal on it. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they paid nothing for Justin Fields.
And they've already told him that that he's the starter.
how long
Mike
is,
Tomlin's
how long
you're
is
the
Russell
starter.
Wilson going to last? I mean, though, he's
Maybe 2 years.
Is
not
is
even a
Russell
year,
Wilson,
I don't think.
Well,
Russell
we'll
Wilson
see what
is the
happens.
backup? Fields
No,
is the starter?
Russell
Fields
Wilson's
is
the starter.
Fields is the
starter.
backup.
Okay.
Fields is the backups. Russell Wilson, they have told him he would be the starter. Right, Brent? We got a couple of former guests in the house.
Yeah, well,
Brent Rittersdorf, Matt Skirman. So we might get their opinions on the tournament as we get into that.
Who would you rather have as your starting quarterback? Justin Fields
Out
or
of those two?
Kirk Cousins?
oh, good
Oh,
Lord.
God.
I mean, take a pick out of those two. Who would the Falcons be
Russell
better off
Wilson.
The
They would have
only-
been better off with Russell Wilson.
Clearly, they would not be better off with Russell Wilson. We got the right person. We are good to go.
I
We
will
are good to
say
go.
that the Falcons got the right person if he can stand up by the time the season starts.
It's
He was the best available quarterback out there.
For the whole offseason. For the whole offseason, not just what was left.
Oh,
or
yeah.
anything.
Yeah,
He was the best.
I would agree with that if he is healthy.
If he's healthy.
Yeah,
correct.
if he's healthy. Yeah, yeah.
No doubt about it.
Yeah.
No doubt about it.
So, so very excited. We could ask Brent real quick. Hey, Brent, get on this other mic and tell us what you think about Mac Jones being gone from New England. Brent's a big New England fan. Jones.
Oh, yeah, Mac Jones, 6th round pick.
That one got turned off. Remember, you asked him to turn it off.
No, it's on.
Okay.
Is it on? Is it
There
on?
Now
it
we
is,
can hear
yeah.
it.
Now it is. Mac who? Mac who?
Yeah, exactly.
I'm happy about it, man. Hey, and the Patriots got something. They got a 6th round when they weren't going to get anything else, and they're moving forward. So,
Yeah.
and going to take Drake May in 3rd pick. There you go.
Well, Brent will be here to
Have
hopefully
you not
make that
seen the
pick.
Mitch Trubisky story yet? I think Drake May is Trubisky 2.0, but I don't know. I don't know.
have a good coaching staff.
Yeah.
He probably, if he gets drafted, he probably won't start week 1.
Yeah. Well, I think the other surprising news of the draft is that Aaron Donald retired at the age of 32, which is pretty strong. I mean, not too many people retire that early. And my whole point about, we were talking about money in the golf game earlier. If you play 10 years and you've made $50 million or whatever, what else do you need to do? A case like that, you protect your body. You don't have to get your body beat up every week like that.
Correct. And if you ask Aaron, I'm sure he'd say he's not protecting his body quickly enough. He's probably thinking, man, I should have done that after my 7th year or
Yeah,
something like that.
that could be.
3-time defensive player of the year, only 10-year career. You do not automatically always go Hall of Famer, but with him, clearly you do.
Yeah.
He's that good.
And then, who else? We know Jason Kelsey retired, and some defensive lineman from Philadelphia also retired. Fletcher Cox.
Fletcher Cox.
That's who it was.
Those Eagles, they have so many defensive linemen. Not that they won't miss Fletcher Cox. He's been wreaking havoc for years
A
and
long
years.
time.
But man, they just kind of bring him in. They just bring him in.
And Van Der Esch retired from the Cowboys due to injury. He only played 6 years.
Tough sport.
Yeah, it is
It
a
is
tough sport.
Who do you think came out the best? From everything I've read, the Falcons got the best grade in free agency.
I think the Falcons helped themselves. To me, it was the whole free agent, whatever you call it, a couple days of action was kind of underwhelming. I thought, other than a few pieces here and there that teams really needed. Did the NFC get stronger? I don't know. I mean, I think the AFC is still superior and has quarterbacks in key spots, but I think the Giants maybe loaded up a little bit. The Jets,
needed to load up.
I think the Jets did okay.
The Jets have been loading up.
Sean, did you hear that? The Jets loaded up.
I mean, in all
I don't know
honesty,
what that means in terms of wins-loss record, but we'll find out.
You got to have somebody at that one position that they've never had. But man, that roster's solid.
It's old though.
It's getting old, but Sauce Gordon's only a couple years old, and what's the guy from Iowa State?
Brees Hall.
Brees Hall. I mean, there's so many young, really talented people as well. So if Aaron, we were talking about if Cousins can stand up straight, if Aaron Rodgers can stand up, that could be a good team.
It's a question, and the AFC is tough though. You're not just going to show up and win games, so. We'll see how the Jets. A lot of hype always, and usually the Jets don't live up to the hype.
So if you
That
guys
is true.
if you guys had 3 years left in your NFL career and you were quarterbacks, would you rather play in the NFC?
Yeah.
Easier to get there.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I heard some talk around Falcons camp yesterday about they never really looked at Fields. The only two quarterbacks they looked at were Kirk Cousins. You know who the other one was?
Baker
Mayfield. That's the
It
only
makes
two that they
sense.
even considered about bringing to Atlanta, which to me makes sense. And I don't know why the Falcons are loading up with so many wide receivers. I know you like that,
They
Robert. But
fleeced the Cardinals.
Yeah, he loves that deal, and I gotta agree.
I mean, I love him because he's from Purdue, but
Rondale Moore.
yes.
But
The NFC South is there for the taking, and and their thought has to be if we can get in the playoffs and get hot a little, anything can happen. Maybe the NFC North now is maybe one of the stronger divisions with Lions, Bears are on the rise. Packers, youngest team in the NFL, on the rise.
Vikings have no idea who will be saying Hut.
No,
They don't have a clue. Yeah, there were
Sam
several
Darnold.
teams. Sam's
That's who they
the
signed. They
number
signed
one
Sam
in
Darnold.
the thing, but hopefully, God, they'll get somebody else. They're going to move up or something to get a real quarterback.
I think honestly, with the signing of Cousins and knowing that you've been drafting for a fast-paced offense for a while now, and now that you got that guy, and you get an opportunity to take another slot receiver, yeah, bring him over here. We'll see how he fits out because sometimes. You go in. It happens all the time in fantasy football to where I know Chuck's the best receiver on the team, but for whatever reason, the quarterback just keeps throwing it to you, Rick.
What's your 40 time, Chuck?
I can drive it in about 3 seconds.
But
The NHRA drag racing's looking for you.
just because you're faster and you have better hands doesn't mean you're going to be a quarterback's favorite wide receiver target. So I think giving Cousins, as many opportunities to fall in love, I'm all about it.
Yeah.
He'll drop back and pass. That's for sure.
I don't know
Absolutely.
what happened with the 8 and 18 deal because the last I heard it, Kyle Pitts said, "I'll give you 8. All I want is targets." And the next thing I know, Kirk Cousins is wearing number 18 now instead of 8.
Oh,
Did you not know that?
I did not hear
Because
that.
that came out yesterday. That's kind of wild. So I don't know. I don't know why numbers are that big of a deal. 'Cause
Superstition.
somebody
It's all superstitious.
But the number, the player makes the number. The number doesn't make the player. Is what they were talking about yesterday on the radio.
It's kind of like you ever watch one of my favorite weird movies, Independence Day?
Oh, yeah.
Love that movie.
Gotta have the cigar. If I'm going to blow it up, you gotta have what you gotta have. And if I've been a stud wearing number 8 or 18 or whatever the heck it is, yeah, give that guy that number
Yeah,
now.
but there was just a big deal on it on Instagram about him going to give it to
Right.
him, and then next thing I know, yesterday, Kirk Cousins is going to wear 18. So I just thought it was odd.
Obviously, somebody misreported that. He was just going to give it to him.
Yeah.
It's all good.
So, Kirk Cousins even said in his press conference, he said, "I'll give him money. I'll give him whatever he wants."
Absolutely.
And then the next thing you know, it didn't happen. So I don't know what the deal is
So
there.
if there's one thing we know, Kirk Cousins has plenty of money.
He's probably he got the most money for doing the least ever in the NFL.
Check is in the main.
There you
For
go.
a guy that really has never won
A thing.
anything.
Yeah.
But he did win one thing. He won the starting role over RG3 when nobody thought he was going to. Why would you drive 2 quarterbacks? Because clearly the first one is going to be overrated and be out of the league really fast.
Yeah. So, you're Rick, you're right. It was kind of underwhelming, but the people that were moving were a lot of star players that moved around. I mean, Jacobs went from Raiders to the Packers. Aaron Jones went from the Packers to the Vikings.
It's still a quarterback league.
Yeah. Oh,
And
it always will be
we
a
saw a few
quarterback league.
quarterbacks playing musical chairs.
Yeah.
And the teams that are entrenched with their quarterbacks that would usually win every year are going to keep winning probably. Most teams, when you pick up a veteran free agent in free agency,
You're paying for what he already did.
and he's typically not going to help you for a full season. Maybe you get a guy like, I think the most famous free agent pickup for the last 20-some years was Reggie White going to Green Bay. and really helping them win a Super Bowl.
Absolutely.
And God told him to do it, he said, and teams are still looking for that. But if you look at the
absolutely.
successful teams, I guess Peyton Manning going to Denver was a game changer. But if you look at these veterans that go to a team for a year or two, typically it doesn't help them win a championship.
I would agree with that. But we're going to get away from football for a
Away
while.
from football.
Until the draft day. Well, actually, the week before draft day.
Oh, probably next week. We'll probably talk about some more football.
Maybe.
Maybe a little bit.
Maybe. Let's just see what happens this week. But baseball's coming into formation, and obviously the biggest thing we're going to talk about this week is the March Madness starts
Madness.
tomorrow.
Technically,
at
started
high noon.
last night.
Yeah, last night.
One of our biggest and most loyal fans who watches all the time and tells me to know your audience when he tells me we need to talk more Colorado State on here was texting me last night. I know as far as he's concerned, tournament started last night.
Did they play last night?
They did, and they won.
They beat Virginia, right?
That's correct.
Yeah.
Virginia, they can't score more than 37 on half the night.
When I talk college basketball, the team I usually start with is Colorado State.
There you go.
Well,
There you go.
we'll start that right after this brain train
episode.
commercial.
You
Let's
just
get
lost
into
all, you
that.
just lost all your listeners.
Hey, it's Melissa again with Brain Train Centers. Did you know March is Brain Injury Awareness Month? At Brain Train Centers, we are dedicated to helping anyone who has suffered from a concussion or brain injury. You may not even realize you have been affected by a brain injury because maybe you didn't hit your head. You can injure your brain from a jolt, a fall, or even whiplash. Some symptoms you may experience are memory decline, focus issues, or even bad moods. We could help you heal your brain. All you have to do is come in for a brain assessment at one of our locations and you could see how your brain is functioning. This is your first step to taking back control of your brain's health. Just give us a call or text us at 470-291-2778, or for more information, visit braintraincentersinc.com.
You just kind of just threw fingers up that time. He didn't even count down. He was, I don't know, they're blurry over there or what. Welcome back.
He's learning American Sign Language. Cut him a little bit of a break.
And thank you, Meg Thompson and Melissa Hergert, for being the sponsors of Three Guys Who Love Sports. And it is that time. It is March Madness here at Miller's Ale House. And if you have not filled out a bracket, anybody in the house here, if you want to win a gift card right here to Miller's Ale House, go to threeguyswholovesports.com. That's threeguyswholovesports.com. And hit play now and fill out your bracket to win a gift card here to Miller's.
And I'm not sure, but you might just be able to go straight to ESPN's bracket and type in Three Guys Who Love Sports, and it'll pull it up there as well.
It probably will. Yeah. That's awesome. So let's get into it. Any overall thoughts before we dive into the brackets?
You know, I'll say this. 2 weeks ago, you know who you like. Oh, I love this team. This is the team. Nobody's looking at this team. And then somebody loses the last week of the year, and it's like, okay, clearly UConn is the greatest team. Nobody said that 2 weeks ago. Nobody said that 3 weeks ago. But I heard they're the number one team that
Number
everybody's.
one overall seed. Yeah.
But it's so funny because, like I said, 3 weeks ago, nobody's taking them. Once Creighton dumped on them, oh, clearly these teams, but, you lose one game in your conference tournament. Okay, out with the old, in with the new.
I feel good about my bracket. I have Virginia going to the Final Four.
I think
What do you guys think of that?
Oh, let's see if we can get Brent to sit in here instead of Rick. Because
Colorado. I think you got Colorado stated.
yeah. So let's start in the South. Who is our number one seed in the South?
Houston.
That would be the Houston Cougars.
Why are we not starting with the number one overall seed in the East?
Because if you look at the brackets, it's South, East, West, Midwest.
No, it goes East, South, West,
good.
Midwest.
It doesn't matter. We're going to talk about all four of them,
Yeah,
gentlemen.
we'll get to them. So South, and this is Houston. Now, Houston is one of those teams that everybody
It
says
is
very,
that
very
team.
good team. Yeah, but then here comes Iowa State along in the finals of the Big 12 and literally demolish them.
Yeah, I mean, I'm an Iowa Stater, and that surprised me as much as anybody. And really, what Iowa State was playing was a very banged up Houston team.
Absolutely.
Who was trying to get healthy before this weekend. I thought if all things being equal, Houston was the best team I saw all year when they were clicking, and they have a Hall of Fame coach, and they have star players. They play defense.
And I'm right there with you because they're the team that I was referencing earlier. 2 weeks ago, it was clearly Houston's tournament. Houston is, now all of a sudden.
Well, they're banged up. It happens to teams the end of the year, and last year UConn was healthy and they win a championship. Year before that, North Carolina was healthy. They win a championship. So. Health is a big concern to some of these teams, and if Houston can get healthy, I think they could be right there.
So, Robert, go over the first round games with us for the South.
For that bracket, we have Houston, and Houston is playing. Who's that?
Longwood.
Longwood. I knew somebody wanted to say that out loud.
Longwood.
So we have
Don't
Houston,
go there, Rick.
Houston. We have Houston and
I
Longwood.
just was asking.
Nebraska and Texas A&M. That's an interesting fun
That is
matchup.
an interesting game, yeah.
Wisconsin and James Madison. Never discount anybody.
Never
from
count
James
out the
Madison.
fourth president of the United States.
You got that right. You got
JMU,
that.
they play who? Wisconsin?
Wisconsin.
Yeah, that's
I
a
think James
12-5,
Madison's
right?
one of your
Yes,
sleepers.
12-5.
I'm going to take take JMU in that game.
And
Absolutely.
then you got the Dukies who, once again, dominating all year long. You're wondering, are they a 1 seed? Are they 1 seed? They look horrible in their conference tournament. They're a 4.
Well, James Madison's nickname is the Dukes.
Yeah.
That is correct.
And they could play Duke.
They
in
could.
the next round. So Duke
They could
versus
duke
the
it out.
Dukes. They'll duke it out. And
That is truly a game for the Dukies. And,
Makes me want to go Dookie just thinking about it.
Dick Vitale may have a heart attack watching that
Yeah.
game.
And then closing it out down on the bottom, you have Texas Tech and NC State. NC
State went on a run and
They
won
went on a run.
won the
They're-
ACC, right?
They're the reason. Last week is the reason why they're actually here and we're talking about them because without last week they don't even make this tournament.
You're absolutely right.
Oakland and Kentucky, UK, Florida and Boise State, and then
Florida and the winner of Boise State, Colorado.
Tonight. Yeah.
and then Marquette and the Blobs.
And you got to take the winner of the
The Red
Boise
Blobs.
State Colorado game, right? Because Florida lost one of their best players with a broken leg.
terrible.
First few minutes of the game, horrible. So that's a 10-7 game, isn't it?
It is a 10-7 game, but
Yeah.
it's very difficult, and you say that, and then you watch a tournament games like last week where a team like NC State wins on Wednesday, and then they win on Thursday. Well, surely they're tired. Now they kicked your butt on Friday, So
That was crazy.
Yeah, it was. But it can happen even with these playing games. Boise has to play tonight. Will they have feet under them when they get to where they need to be? Florida scores a lot of points though. These SEC teams, they are putting it in the bucket. They're putting up 85, 90 points a game. So I think that's going to be a
same
tough
way.
game.
A&M runs the ball a lot.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So that's going to be a tough one for them.
What's
I
their
think.
stars? Wade Taylor? Is it that,
Yes,
For
that's
for
the
A&M?
star player for A&M.
Yeah.
Nebraska has Keisei Tomonagi.
Yeah.
Oh, you just love saying that name.
I do. He's a fantastic shooter.
Yeah. Interesting follow-up. So it could be the Dukies, but is it going to wind up in a 1-2
Probably not.
for the finals?
I don't think so. I don't think Marquette makes it there.
Yeah. Marquette's a pretty good basketball team.
They are a good basketball team.
But their starting point guard is currently hurt, Tyler Kolek.
Yeah.
And UK is starting to play well. And, there's one thing about UK, and I don't care what year it is, and, and I know you got to be coached up and all that other good stuff. But, every person on that bench is a 5-star.
The Shepherd kid is a really nice player, too.
They can jump out. Yeah, he is. He's
Yes.
unbelievable.
And, Calipari will be wearing a $5,000 suit.
Absolutely. Looking like the Don he is. Hey, kiss my ring and I'll let you stay. But, yeah, they're looking good at the right time.
Yeah, and there are several teams in that bracket that could be the Cinderellas, and Kentucky's certainly one of them.
How about that winner of the Nebraska Texas A&M? Anybody give them a shot against Houston?
Yes.
Yeah, if Houston's banged up.
If they're
And,
still hurt. Yeah.
you got two good coaches in that game.
And those are physical teams.
The Houston's calling card is their defense.
Absolutely.
And they have that long-range shooter Shed, who is a
the point guard.
NBA
Jamal Shed.
Yeah,
He's
he's a stud.
probably player of the year against Eddie right now, right? One
Well,
of the
him
top
and Connect,
three.
the
Dalton
kid
Connect.
Well,
from
Shed,
Tennessee.
Shed translates even to the NBA better than Edie does, or
Connect, yeah.
yeah. So
Well, I even texted Rick Saturday before
texted me?
the Iowa
I thought I
State
blocked
Kansas
you.
thing. No, not yet. You haven't. But we talked about. I've never seen a team like Houston make another team work so hard for a shot until I watched Iowa State play, and they play pretty good defense too.
yeah.
So
I just wish I could have seen Virginia play against Iowa State or Houston.
yeah.
Yeah.
Because if they can
No.
only score 47 against anybody,
That's
can
taken-
you imagine if one of those
what-
defenses would have broken
What
down?
are they
on
going to
them?
use? Peach baskets? Is that what? You're gonna
Yeah.
put?
That's what we played with.
They'd be
when
lucky
I was
to
a kid.
clear
I
30.
figured. You were using that four corners offense, weren't you?
Oh
Raleigh
no, I hated Dean
Massimino.
Smith.
Raleigh.
The
Dean
triangle and
Smith.
two.
Yeah. I hated Dean Smith. All right. Let's move on to the East, where UConn, the number 1 overall seed, is the head of the UConn, but they got a tough road to hoe. They got
do.
FAU.
They got Stetson.
And if they get by FAU, they got Auburn.
Hey, don't discount
And if
Northwestern.
They get by Auburn, they get by Illinois. And if they get by Illinois, they got Iowa State.
Don't
if
discount
they're sharp.
Northwestern.
No, Northwestern, well coached.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens. You would think that the number 1 overall bracket will have a little bit easier ride to the Final Four than this. But that's 4 tough teams
Yeah.
that they're going to have to go up against.
I was disappointed.
They're also defending champions. So.
The defending national champion has not made it out of the first weekend in 7 years.
Well, and I'd like to just point out the 2 stats that I know I've abused on this show many times. One, when Creighton beat UConn, the stat was that UConn was 0 for its last 15 when playing a ranked opponent on the road. Now, these are all neutral site games, clearly, but I look at a team that is dominating against the weaker people and has a trouble on the road. So,
Creighton's not in this bracket, are they?
they're
No.
not. They're not. They always try to split those,
Yeah,
conference team.
Yeah,
up.
absolutely.
Yeah, they try, but with so
If
many
you-
SEC teams.
Well, correct, and there are a few ACC, SEC matchups that I have in that Sweet 16, but they still try to always make sure that if Houston and Iowa State ever play again, it'll be for everything. So
Yeah.
Is Auburn a dangerous team?
I think they are.
They definitely are.
No.
They're
did you-
athletic.
Did you watch them
No.
play?
Yeah, I've watched them
against
play a few
Mississippi
times this
State?
year.
Watched
And
them play against
even though
Mississippi
I'm not a
State?
Bruce Pearl fan,
Yeah.
I like the way Auburn plays.
Yeah.
And I don't know about I don't know much about Bruce Pearl, but I know that
He was
dude
Tennessee
wins.
before he was Auburn,
I can tell
right?
you a
I
lot
know he's
about
a-
Bruce Pearl when we're
But
off the air.
but he wins everywhere he goes. Well,
He
Tennessee's
does.
not a very good team. Wow, Tennessee's top 10 team. Auburn's not very good. Well, they're a top 10 team now. So he definitely puts people in the right places.
And the way I saw Mississippi State play against Tennessee, I said, well, wow, they're going to walk through the rest of the thing. And they came up against Auburn, and they got a guy, Corvell or something like that. Every time somebody would drive down the middle lane, he would swat it out.
Yeah, I love that ice cream, Carvel.
Carvell. I think that's his name. I'm not sure.
He calls it-
Cordell,
he calls
my
it the soft
apologies to
serve.
anybody's family. But Auburn looked pretty good on Saturday.
When
I
Auburn
watched them
plays
play.
a team that actually plays defense, they're not going to look good.
What about Florida Atlantic? Can they make another run, or was that an anomaly last year? They got everybody back.
That's the key. That's the key on that one is because there's I think they're all upperclassmen, but maybe even 4 seniors on that team. So you've got all of that. Man, that's a fun game.
That's the toughest region, I think.
Oh, there's no doubt. Yeah, I think so too.
For UConn though to get out of that first week by playing the Owls. I mean, they'll probably take care of Stetson.
Well, Auburn won the SEC, right?
Yeah.
Illinois won the Big Ten,
Yep.
right? So
They won the they won the conference tournament. They
yes.
didn't win
We
the
know
regular
they didn't
season.
win the
Correct,
regular
correct,
season.
but-
We're talking about tournament.
so
Iowa State won the Big 12, right?
So did
UConn-
Drake won the Missouri Valley.
Yeah, so there you
UConn-
go. They got some tough. That's a
UConn-
tough schedule. Yeah,
won their tournament. So I'm just
which is
saying.
only the top seed that did.
going into it.
Yeah.
for all the big tournaments.
Yeah.
A lot of these teams are tired this time of the.
Sure.
It's hard to gauge the It used to be the conference tournaments were more important. I think. I don't know if they still. I guess for some teams they still are. What I saw in the conference tournaments were a lot of tired teams.
Oh yeah. Well, Kansas, Bill Self, he wasn't even going to start his players.
Bill Self,
and they
Bill
got
Self
beat.
was even tired.
Yeah, he was tired himself.
He looked like me. He looked like me.
But I think Kansas is going out early. When we'll get to their bracket, we'll talk about them. But I don't know. Robert, who else are we missing in the East that we haven't talked about?
Well, if we go down to the bottom part of the bracket, does BYU, Illinois, or Washington State present a problem for Iowa State at some point?
Illinois might.
Illinois might.
We've already played BYU twice. Not a mystery.
Washington State's
Washington
been
State, who knows?
floundering
with them.
lately.
They've been kind of tailing
How about
off.
BYU and Duquesne? Is that a decent game?
I think Drake.
No,
is
Duquesne's a mediocre A10 team at best. They play good defense against VCU in the championship game, but
First time they made the tournament, I think, since the 70s or something.
It's
like
been
that.
a long time.
I think Drake is the dangerous team there in the East. If most people don't know a thing about him.
Yeah.
Against Washington State.
Well coached, the coach's son leads
And
the
San
team.
Diego State, aren't they in the East?
yes,
Yeah,
they're
they
at the
They're
top
in-
half.
they're in the
of
top
East.
half.
And they were in the finals last year. That's where UConn beat, right?
So
Yes.
San Diego State Auburn, conceivably on Sunday afternoon. That's a pretty good game.
That would be an evening primetime game, probably.
Probably.
Yeah.
You would hope so. Yeah. All right, cool. Well, let's get another commercial out of the way, and then we'll go into our West and Midwest brackets. Let's do some Alvin Jameson stuff.
Hey, Alvin Jameson here, the mortgage guy. Are you looking to get pre-approved for a home loan? Or maybe you want to build a house from the ground up? Are you curious, or better yet, is your significant other on your back about making renovations in your current home? Call me. I have options for you. All self-employed individuals. Are you torn between writing off all your income or having to show your income to qualify for a house? I have a third alternative for you. Whether you're a W-2 employee, self-employed individual looking to do a purchase or pull money out of your current house, or better yet, we can't forget the investors out there. If you have that high interest rate, hard money loan and looking to refinance out of it, again, give me a call. I have options. Below are the states that I'm personally licensed in. Call me, 404-587-9033. Again, 404-587-9033. Visit the website, alvinjameson.com.
Guys who love sports, here with my buddy Robert Kinney and our guest Rick Limpert, and we're talking some NCAA basketball. Let's go to the West.
To the West, young man.
Where-
nobody should be further west than North Carolina, right?
No, but they're the one seed here,
They
right?
are.
Yeah. I don't have them coming out of here, but
Thank you, sir.
I mean, I don't ever remember North Carolina having to travel for a long, long time because they were always the South or the East number
Correct.
one
Them and
seed.
Duke, but clearly they're not one of the three best teams. So if you had to send somebody 3,000 miles away, which is always a misnomer, because where's this opening game? It's probably Charlotte.
Yes,
Yeah,
the regional game is LA.
Correct. But for the first weekend, they're going to Charlotte, so it's not like, wow, we sent them to Nevada, and then they had to come home, and then we sent them to California. No, they're hanging out at home.
No.
So that's a fun bracket.
Yeah, it is. That's Mississippi State's bracket, right?
Mississippi State
Yes.
and Michigan is who Carolina will get if they make it out of that daunting 1-16 matchup that some teams can't make it out of.
And Mississippi State, they had a little bit of a tussle. Like I said, they beat Tennessee, and then they got into some fisticuffs with Auburn. That was kind of a nasty sight. Nothing like the girls' game at LSU and
South
in
Carolina.
South Carolina, but a little bit of a nasty sight. So who else we got in the West, Robert?
Still on that top half, we have St. Mary's and Grand Canyon, and then Bama and CFC, College of Charleston.
Oh, wow.
So, when you look at that top half, as far as big blue bloods, all that stuff, I mean, you got Michigan State as a 9 and you got Bama as a 4, but really it looks like a fairly easy road for
Carolina.
Carolina to get to the Elite Eight.
Yeah.
With all the talent that they have, they
So
should.
much.
They should.
So much.
Until they get to Arizona.
If
Arizona's
there's
loaded too.
I don't think Arizona's in that
if there's
game, I'm
ever
sorry.
an
They're not
underrated
in that
12
game?
seed,
I don't think
it's
they'll make it
Grand
to that.
Canyon.
I agree.
Grand Canyon is, I believe it's either Scott. I think it's Bryce Drew,
Bryce Drew is
Bryce
the
Drew.
coach.
who's the brother of Scott Drew, who's the head coach of Baylor. Grand Canyon has
We knew there would have to be some kind of tie.
Grand Canyon has lost one game since January 1st.
They like to shoot you out of the gym, and you know, the great thing about it, I loved them last year, and they didn't do it, but it's something. There's something about a coach who's able to make you believe in what he's selling, and this guy actually hit one of the shots that you will see 400 times this weekend when they talk about March Madness, and you see the kid from Valparaiso line up from 35 feet. That's the guy. That's the coach who's trying to motivate people at Grand Canyon. I'm all in on them. I've got them winning that first game.
And who do they play?
They play
St.
St.
Mary's.
Mary's, which is a very tough team because St. Mary's had to, finally beat Gonzaga
A couple of times this year, right?
Correct, but
Yeah.
just taking the conference from Gonzaga is quite a.
It's not a great Gonzaga team
It's not.
this
No,
it's
year.
not.
Still,
It's not.
still good. St. Mary's always
a lot of Australians, I believe.
a lot of international. We call them
yeah,
international
yeah.
players
Yeah.
on St. Mary's.
But they're almost all from Australia.
Beautiful campus if you've
Oh,
ever
yeah.
been to
Yeah.
St. Mary's.
I have not, but I've
Where
heard.
is that? It's up near San Francisco, isn't it?
Moraga, California, which is right on the ocean. And I don't know if you remember Rick Majerus.
From Utah?
The old coach. He said when he his last job, he wanted to be at St. Mary's. He
Yeah,
said because
I want that school. Just beautiful.
It's similar to Pepperdine, right in Malibu.
Oh, cool.
But St. Mary's always a well disciplined team.
So it's closer to L.A. than it is San Francisco.
I think it's in between. I think.
Is it?
I think it's a little closer to San Francisco than
Oh,
it
is
is
it?
LA. But,
Okay.
but you got, Bama's probably not going to have a problem with College of Charleston, no matter who comes out. I don't know. Like I said, I think Carolina, out of everything we've already discussed, I think this is the easiest path for a 1 to get to the Elite Eight.
I would probably agree with that, but I've got Arizona beating Carolina, I think, in my finals. So, not in my finals, but in this regional final. Yeah. All right.
Elite Eight.
All right. So let's move over to the Midwest.
We didn't do the bottom half of the West.
We got to do Arizona. We got to find out why you're going with them.
All right.
Is it because they're playing Long Beach?
No, they have less room to travel.
That's true.
Yeah, closer to a home game for them, and I think that's going to wind up being a bonus for them.
So we've got Arizona and Long Beach. We've got Dayton and Nevada, Baylor and Colgate, and then Clemson and New Mexico.
Yeah, Clemson was a little shocked to get in. They were on the bubble, so I'm happy to see them get there. But they're a team that can be pretty good.
They are, but it's always interesting whenever they're talking about a bubble team, and then it's like
They're sixth seed.
Yeah, that seems high for a bubble
Yeah.
team. I don't know.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah.
So let's start with: does anybody think Nevada or Dayton can offer Arizona anything in that second round?
I don't think
It
so.
shouldn't be with
I don't
Arizona's
think so
talent.
I think both of them have the ability. I mean, it's March.
You got to shoot
But
your
I think both of them have the ability to challenge Arizona. Nevada coming in with Steve Alford. He's got Power 5 experience at UCLA and Iowa. Dayton has one of the top players in the country. I think even Long Beach State could give Arizona some trouble. It's a coach. It's a coach who he's got everything to play for. He's been
Nothing to
fired.
fear.
He's been fired by the university already. So he's just here for fun.
Hey, I'm with you. And then up top from there, you got Baylor, Colgate, Clemson, and New Mexico.
You could have an Elite Eight matchup between the Drew brothers.
Yep,
You could.
that would be interesting.
That would take
Yeah, that would be really interesting.
that would take a lot to happen.
I would
but-
say go take $10 and put that on a bet in Vegas because that one will probably pay some really good dividends.
Yeah,
That
that could be
probably
a-
would be
that-
a good big payoff. All right, Midwest.
So who do you got? Oh, I guess we'll just come back.
Yeah,
to
we'll
that
do that. We'll do that at the next break. After the next break. So Midwest, my shocker team out of here is not really a shocker. Is McNeese State. I think McNeese State could go
Well,
away.
who's in the bracket?
Well, we got Purdue versus who is that? Who are they?
The winner of Montana State, Grambling State.
Ooh, that's a game for tonight, boys.
At least this year they'll get past the 16 seed.
So you would have said last year as well. So
Yeah.
I don't know that
Yeah.
to be true.
Yeah.
That Utah State TCU interesting matchup in the second round.
TCU's fast. They're going to put up points.
Gonzaga
Two similar
and
teams.
Very similar. Yeah.
Gonzaga on their way down, as like Rick was pointing out, and your McNeese State upset, and then Kansas and Samford. I mean, I said it before the show. This isn't a great bracket. This looks pretty nice for Purdue.
It does. They're also McNeese. They have a larger winning margin than any other school in D1 at 18.9 points a game.
Ooh, Chuck pulls out the stat there.
They also have known cheater and former LSU coach Will Wade.
But now with NIL, he's totally within the rules.
Well, yes.
Now he's legit.
Now he's legit.
2 years ago he was in
wasn't
a hallway,
legit.
but now
Yeah.
it doesn't matter.
I don't think Kansas will get by their first game with McCullers out and everybody else that's hurt. Kansas had a great starting five,
They did.
but without McCullers, they don't. And I just don't see them getting out of the round of 64.
And I completely agree with you, but let me just I have them getting out of the round of 64, maybe not out of the round of 32.
Yeah.
But I will just throw in there for devil's advocate, they're Kansas. So
Yep.
even though you've never heard about the kids at the end of that bench, one of them could be the next Michael Jordan or whoever else.
But
So
they lost, 7 or 8 games this year, which they just don't lose.
no,
And-
they didn't look good,
No, they didn't.
especially down the stretch.
Utah State, I know they're in the tournament, but they've lost 19 out of their last 20 NCAA tournament games.
Wow.
Which is a hell of a mark when you stop to think about it. Because one, they're probably typically a 13 or a 14 seed.
Absolutely.
So they're getting fed to the dogs every time. But what it tells me is they win that conference tournament every year. Because if you've made it 20 times,
Yeah.
I assure you, there's none of these other small schools that got 20 games of a resume to back that up. And they're pretty good.
And Oregon's in this. They've got the Dante, is that the guy's player from Oregon? He's got the highest shooting percentage in the country at 70.2.
That's down in the bottom half of the bracket. You
Yeah.
got South Carolina and Oregon, Creighton, and is that
Akron.
Akron?
The Zips.
Yep.
Zips are 0-5 in the NCAA tournament.
Is Creighton a viable team to come out of that region,
Yes.
possibly?
The only D1
As a
team with
Purdue
3
fan,
players.
yes.
Only team with 3 players averaging over 17 points a game.
Chuck, you are just pulling stats out of the air. What is
I
with
studied
you?
today, man. I had to read.
Man, you had nothing else going on today, did you?
No.
No,
But that's pretty strong.
no, it is. But I think we're in love with Creighton because they snapped that UConn streak, and so we put that feather in UConn or Creighton's hat about 6 weeks ago. Oh, that's a team you don't want to play. They haven't looked great since that
But
game.
they were an Elite 8 team last year, I think,
Yep.
and they came within a whisker of getting to the Final Four.
And they have the second biggest guy in the tournament for the most part. So third.
Yeah.
And, Gonzaga's, this is their 25th straight year in
Of
the
being in the
tournament.
tournament?
Yeah. I think they're third. I think Kansas has got the longest one at 34 games.
Kansas, Michigan State, Gonzaga,
Michigan
Purdue.
State, yeah.
But Michigan State is a 9,
Yeah,
Can't even
Tom
believe it.
Izzo's
It's
a
a-
coach.
it's a
so
Tom
we'll see
Izzo
what
team.
happens. Yeah.
And then at the very bottom down there, we do have Texas, Colorado State, and then Tennessee. And who's that? Is that Steven
St.
F. Austin?
Peter's.
St. Pete's.
Oh,
St. Peter's.
I only have STP here. I could not.
That's a great oil treatment.
I could not identify that.
We already did the
little
Luke
thing.
commercial.
We already
I
did
think.
commercial.
St. Peter's is 1-0 all time against SEC teams
St.
in
Peter's
the
is out of
NCAA
Philadelphia,
tournament.
right?
Yeah,
New
they're
Jersey.
The ones that wore
They're out of New Jersey.
they had a pretty good run
Out of
last year.
The Philadelphia.
2
area
years
of New
ago.
Jersey.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
2 years ago.
All right.
Philadelphia.
So, I don't know.
New Jersey.
It's going to be an interesting bracket.
I didn't say it wasn't, but Philadelphia metro area is New Jersey.
Absolutely.
I'm just saying they're from the state of New Jersey.
Yeah.
I know.
All
The
right.
Peacocks.
All right. So,
Peacocks.
yeah, I don't know. I know who I like out there, but we'll get that in the next segment.
But going back to something that I said to ATI before the game, before we started talking about this, would you say Tennessee is the weakest 2 seed?
Yeah.
So you were lucky enough
No.
to get that. Who are you thinking?
Marquette. Marquette without their starting point guard, Tyler Kolek.
I'll give you that one's close, but it just seems like all the other matchups, no matter who you pick on, whatever game you look at, that bracket, the Midwest bracket, seems like it's a little easier. Just a little. Still got to show up and win.
All right.
After the first day and we see the upsets, you'll get a better indication.
Yeah. All right. We'll see. All right. Let's get our American Access commercial in, and then we'll get into our picks for the tournament.
Tired of going to the same old places for the same old thing? American Access has your solution. Whether you're looking for something new to do before or after the game, bachelor or bachelorette party, or somewhere new to take those out-of-town guests, American Access has 3 locations located in Marietta, Tucker, and now in downtown at the Works. Each and every location is conveniently and not coincidentally located next to a brewery. Look us up at American Access or give us a call at 678-763-3635 to schedule your next adventure.
And thank you, Dan Fisher, for being a sponsor of the Owls Who Live Sports, and also the 3 Guys Who Love Sports right now on Miller's Ale House Radio. We are making our picks today, so we will be giving the American Access to everybody but one team in each division, or each what do you call it, bracket? No,
Bracket.
no,
Bracket.
Bracket.
Region.
region. That's the
Region,
word I'm looking
bracket.
for. Thank you. All right.
Same difference.
So Rick went to make his choices, I think, and
I think he had to go scribble something out. He's just running across, so I'm sure he'll be right back.
so we'll get his final 4 when he gets back. Let me see if we can. Hey, Brent, you and Matt, who are your favorites in the tournament? Who do you got winning it all? What? I can't hear Matt. What is it?
Whoever scores the most points.
That's a good call.
Turns out that team is undefeated.
Yeah.
I got the Celtics by 6 tonight over the Bucks.
I like that. Giannis isn't playing.
Celtics laying 6 at the Bucks.
Giannis.
I know. I like to say Giannis because he can't even play. So
All right.
if he was playing, I'd call him
So-
Sir Royalty Giannis.
We'll go ahead and get ATI's picks out, so then we get to the more intelligent ones. So go ahead, Adam.
Stop being a hater. You want me to pick
Final
the
Four.
Elite 8 games or the Final 4 games?
Who are your final 4?
Who are your
Final
Final
4
Four
teams. Let me go Creighton out of the Midwest.
Woo!
Larry, you writing these down, or do I need to?
It'll be recorded on the
Okay.
Let me look at my bracket. I have Creighton in the Midwest.
So you got Creighton beating your own favorite team.
Yes.
Do they play in that matchup?
Yes.
Okay.
I have Creighton in the Midwest. I have Marquette in the South.
They're clearly the worst 2 seed.
Listen,
I still
I
have them
don't
winning.
know how I ended up with Marquette. I just ended
wanted to
up
point
with
that
Marquette.
out.
I have Illinois in the East, and I
Lord have
have
mercy.
UNC in the West.
So a 1,
A 3, a
2
2, and a
threes.
3. A 1,
a 2,
a 2, and 2 threes.
Sound like Lawrence Welk.
a
and the 1 and the 2.
And then
I have
I have UNC Marquette and UNC as the national champion.
Could you imagine if Marquette was to win a game like that? I just they got talent. I mean, I know the Dwayne Wade. I know great players come through there, but man, such a small school compared to these other behemoths.
All right. So, Larry, have you filled out your bracket yet? Larry, the engineer, ladies and gentlemen.
No, I haven't quite finished mine, but
Do you know who you picked to win?
I had UNC to win, but I'm
But now that
thinking
Adam
twice.
said it,
Yeah,
you're
now I'm thinking twice about that.
Oh, boo-hoo.
All right. Rick, how about you, buddy?
I guess UConn. I think they're probably the strongest team in that region.
Even of the tough teams they have to
Even
go
though
through.
the defending national champion hasn't made it out of the first weekend in 7 years.
Well, trends change sometimes, so
They do.
I would say Arizona. And
Out of the West.
Out of the West, Houston.
Out of the East.
South.
Out of the South.
And out of the East is tough. And Creighton.
Creighton.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's going to be a 3+ seed that's going to eke their way in there, I think, somewhere.
It seems like there always does. I mean, some people that go chalk, and try to do all the ones, it never works out that way.
Never, ever.
Yeah. But I am with you on 3 of the 4 regions.
I better think it over then.
Yeah.
Do it.
So say Robert. Yeah, you might ought to. So I've got Houston. I think they're going to play enough
if they're
defense
healthy,
to get past
no
there.
one's going to beat them and go into the Final Four.
Exactly. I've got UConn.
Okay.
Again, a tough region, but if they play well enough to get there, I just think the final would be so much fun to see UConn and Houston play. I also have Arizona coming out of the West, and I have Tennessee coming out of the Midwest. The weakest 2 seed, but somebody's got to make it. If San Diego State, what were they, a 5 last year, and they made it to the finals?
Anything can happen. I mean, they made movies on, any given Sunday.
Yeah.
Well, if it's any given Sunday, I assure you, any Thursday night with St. Mary's and Grand Canyon, anything can happen.
Yeah. So, Rick, we didn't ask you, who do you have in the finals, and who do you have winning it?
I would have in the finals Houston and Arizona.
Houston, Arizona, with who winning?
I'll stay with Houston if they're healthy. I don't think if they were completely, I don't think they're going to be healthy though. But I think if they can get healthy over the 3 weeks, they would be my favorite to win.
I think they got the best coach in the country.
They got a great coach.
Yeah,
and if you watch those players on Houston, they are busting their balls for that coach.
Absolutely.
And it is fun watching it in a era where nobody plays defense at the NBA or the college level. It's fun watching a group of guys who just
for years the Big 12 was people used to crap on it because nobody played defense.
Oh yeah. It's like a turnstile
Houston
door.
and Iowa State are 1-2 in defense in the same conference. So things change.
Yeah, that's why I was so amazed about how much that game, the way it turned out. But it wasn't even a fun game to watch.
It was fun for me to watch.
Yeah, I'm sure it was fun for you. But
don't ever say that, Chuck.
Yeah, so I have Houston beating UConn in the finals. I wouldn't be surprised if it was Houston, Arizona, but probably there's a chance that none of us are right. But
so you have 2 1s meeting and
2 1s and 2 2s.
2 1s and 2 2s. Who is your other 2?
Tennessee and Arizona. So that leads us up to you, Robert.
Save the worst for last. I understand entirely. So I've been in love with Big 12 basketball all year, and I am this far away from having 3 of them in the Final Four. I have Kentucky beating Houston in that elite game,
Elite 8,
to not make it a 3rd team. So I've got Kentucky out of that side. I got Purdue. I still don't like anybody in that region. I think it comes down straight to. I think that'll be probably the only 1-2 matchup that the tournament offers us.
Purdue and Kentucky.
Kentucky's a 3.
No, Purdue and Tennessee to make it to the Final Four, and I think Purdue will take that. I've got whoever wins that game. I've got Kentucky beating Purdue currently. Could be Houston beating Purdue later on. On the other side. Big 12 all the way. I got Iowa State and Baylor.
Love to see that.
And that's a Final Four matchup for me. And I got Baylor winning that matchup. And then I got Baylor cutting down the nets.
Wow. There are 3, right?
They are 3. But, when it comes down to these types of games and these teams, man, if you're in a big conference like the Big 12, anywhere from 1 to 6, you are seasoned. You've seen it. You know it. And so I just don't believe that when Iowa State and Baylor go up against a lot of these teams, they're going to run into problems. They're going to be like, you don't guard like Houston.
They've played each other 3 times this year, so we might as well make it a 4th.
Makes it perfect. I think it'll be fun. I think it'll be a fun tournament.
It always is, and it's
It
funny
is.
because this is 2 years ago. Tomorrow is when you and I met.
Correct. That was the very first day we ever met.
Yeah.
Chuck was sitting across from me, and we were having a conversation, and my eyes kept drifting up because there was a TV right above his head
So,
watching
it was
those
lunch and there were ball games
watching
on.
those noon tip-offs. It's like, holy moly.
Where was that at?
At
Paisanos.
right here in Kennesaw. His wife is head of the Optimist, isn't it?
She was.
The head of the Optimist. She asked me to come speak to her about another event I do. And I went, Robert, and we just started talking. And I said, I got to get you on the show.
Yeah, it was like by the end of the show, and I'm like, I feel like I'm bad because I keep looking up at this TV. But
No,
you know,
you're okay. You're okay.
It's March Madness. It's Thursday at noon. That's what you're supposed to do. And at the end of lunch, Chuck looks at me and he's like, I got a show. Do you want to come on it? I'm like, yeah.
And
Love
then-
to.
It's been all downhill since.
Yeah, absolutely.
The race to the bottom.
It's gonna be a fun tournament. I am most interested to see the health of Houston. I think that's probably my biggest X factor
There's a lot of
going into the
determining
tournament.
factors there, depending on how healthy they are.
Yeah, and like I said, I'm probably going to do a second bracket. And
I have 6.
yeah, I'm just talking about in our pool.
I can't.
Three
You can
guys
only
who love
do one
sports.
in our pool.
Yeah.
We can only do one in ours?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll put it in other ways. Speaking of Will the Thrill, there he is, Will the Thrill. Will, who you got in the NCAA basketball bracket?
He's a homer. He's got Stetson. Auburn.
There's a flyer. Will's got Auburn. There you go. All right. Do you have a favorite NCAA basketball moment?
So many. They're all my childhood. You know, whether it's that tape of Jimmy Valvano running around the table like, and the announcer says he's looking for somebody to hug. Somebody hug him. You know, he's just running around like a crazy man.
That's by far mine. I
yeah,
love that.
you
That
know
was in
that-
New Mexico, right?
I hate Duke so much, but one of the the greatest, watching that game against Kentucky, and I can remember sitting there watching with my buddies, and they were like, "Game's over." I was like, "Have you not watched Duke play these games before?" And then, holy
Christian
moly.
Leitner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. But, you had to get that perfect pass from Grant Hill. So, who can hold the basketball one-handed and throw it 74 feet? That guy.
Villanova, UNC. Jenkins for the championship.
I would say my almost favorite moment is Butler, when Butler took that three
Gordon
and
Hayward.
didn't make it against Duke. It was like, oh!
Villanova Georgetown was a good one too.
1985, Riley
Yeah, it was a
Massimino,
really,
four
really
corners.
good game. Yeah.
But that's what those games are all about. You were talking about a game where, these guys have already played 3 times during the season. Georgetown beat the crap out of Villanova those first 2 times. If ever there was somebody who, man, these guys don't have any chance.
What about Indiana, Syracuse? Keith Smart.
Oh, that was a good game.
No
yeah.
Indiana game is a good game.
Keith Smart was a good ball player. So, is that your favorite? Probably.
I don't know if it's my favorite or not, but that
fun,
was
though.
I was a kid and it was fun
Absolutely.
watching a buzzer beater there in the championship game. But I just like watching the basketball. There's going to be upsets. There's going to be buzzer beaters, and you got an excuse to sit in your chair and just enjoy some basketball for a weekend.
I was very fortunate to be able to go to the championship game in Minneapolis in 2001 and saw Arizona and Duke play. Duke beat Lute Olson and the Wildcats. Great game. But my favorite moment is by far the Jimmy V moment. He's one of my icons. I love Jimmy V. Everything he stood for. So a great guy.
And I could watch that 30 for 30 where, I don't have to watch the whole thing. Just give me that one part where he talks about, he's playing keep away because 5 slamma jam is too good. We can't run with him, so we're not going to do that. And he walks into the thing and kicks the chair over. We're not. You think we're laying down? We're going right. So awesome.
Yeah.
So awesome.
So before we wrap up here, Robert, give us the good news. Looks like you're going to Albany.
I won the Caitlin Clark sweepstakes. So yeah, got tickets 3 months ago for Albany, New York, and been hoping and praying, because not that I wouldn't enjoy the other games, but clearly you want to go see Caitlin Clark at this point. So yeah, I've got a great regional. I get to go see
LSU, and
I get to see South Carolina's regional on Friday and Sunday, and then on the other side, if everybody wins, it will be, I believe UCLA and LSU, and the winner plays the winner of the Iowa game. So, Iowa LSU could be the Monday night, the last game I get to go see.
I
So
hated seeing them in the same bracket, in the same division, same region.
Well, it's going to happen. I mean,
Yeah.
there's nothing like spring in Albany, I heard.
yeah, I've been looking that one up. It's like, although I've been asking people, so if you have anything great for me to go to do, I've been looking for things to do in Albany, and there's not a really big list. Gus's Hot Dogs is number 4th when you do it.
Gus's Hot Dogs.
Yeah, and it's a little thing. But I did have somebody tell me the other day, or last night, he said, Cooperstown's only an hour and a half away. I'm like, I might just rent a car on that Monday.
There you go.
Early.
All right.
Go watch it early.
All right. Well, as always, Rick, great having you,
All right.
buddy.
Thanks,
Great
guys.
show. Robert, thanks, buddy.
Good luck to Iowa State, sir.
Yeah, everybody, if you have not filled out your brackets, go to ESPN and look for 3 Guys Who Love Sports, or go to 3guyswholovesports.com and just hit play now, and we'll get you hooked up. We'll be giving away a $25 gift card right here to Miller's Ale House. Till then, guys, know your numbers, cover your ass, get your prostate checked. We'll see you next week.